As a part of this DevOps job and interview preparation, let's just have a discussion upon the various technologies. Now, let us just have a discussion. We are just discussing right now upon what are the various nuances, what are the various things that you should be making sure of as a part of going for an interview like DevOps. Right. So you see, the first and the foremost thing, okay, and which is very logical so and which is very obvious so as well, is that you should have a perfect curriculum vitae, we call it a CV. Right. So the first thing to make sure is that whether you have a perfect CV with you. Now, what does it contain? What do we have as a, when I say a perfect CV? Okay, so it should carry, first of all, as you see, a personal statement. So you see, it should carry a personal statement wherein you are mentioning your personal profile down there. Okay, as well, there should be having a mention of the work experience that you have altogether. We'll just have a discussion on that as well. But importantly, I mean, personal statement, your personal profile is always there. I mean, when you're preparing your CVs, right? I mean, we make sure to mention the personal profile of us. We make sure to mention whatever the experience that you have accumulated, isn't it? I mean, from your qualification on, you must have got certain experience in the appropriate domains in order to achieve those milestones. Okay, so yes, you must be mentioning that what are the different work experiences that you have had until that point of time, and skills as well. So skills, basically they talk about your own set of skills that you have to. Now the thing is, you have to understand, okay, you have to make sure that the skills that you're putting in, while making sure that the work experience is all put in very well in the descending order as such. Skills, you have to make sure that they are you are highlighting the skills which are in line with the job as well. Okay, yes, you must be having the skills which are beyond that, not a problem, but you have to make sure that you have to understand, okay, when you're going for a particular job interview like this, let us say for the DevOps job interview, okay, after understanding the interview, after understanding the job requirement itself, after understanding the responsibility that you are going to hold upon, so depending on that, you have to make sure that whatever the skills that you acquire in that direction, you do mention that and you do highlight that in your CV. And the one thing that is kept there, you see, in a bold fashion, you see, is the professional certifications. Now that you are into the world of cloud, right? You see, being on DevOps, the companies, the organizations, they're expecting to validate, to have a validation of your knowledge. Okay, now you see, I mean, the interview, it will be through the rounds and everything, that is fine. But the first thing that will put a big impact on the reviewer or onto the interviewer, okay, is these certifications as well. Because more the certifications, I mean, it is not about the volume, but what I'm trying to suggest here is more the mention of that, more the validation of knowledge goes in, isn't it? So you have, let us say you say that, okay, I do have a certification of AWS DevOps. Okay, the person will know that this particular person has spent quite an effort onto learning this particular domain, isn't it? Now, it is very unlikely that you don't have such validation and then the companies are still hiring you. Okay, yes, it may happen. I'm not saying entirely no to it, but you see, when you have a solid certification like this, I'm just not talking about AWS, but in general, isn't it? We have certifications from GCP, we do have it from Azure. Okay, but whatever the job responsibility is looking for, or the job role is looking for, okay, you need to have an appropriate certification in that domain so that it will highlight you. It will kind of make your CV stand out from the other CVs, because you see, I mean, there will be other fellows like you who must be joining in or who must be opting for that particular job role, And what will stand out is this certification. So again, having said that, remember, just a certification would not be sufficient. That is one on the very important thing to discuss. Okay, even I'm getting onto this particular slide, but then you can see how different it is. When you see on the left hand side and the right hand side, when you have a sort of certification, which is it is like a badge that you're carrying with you, isn't it? A skill set, a badge of a skill set. So yes, first of all, remember, certification is not everything, but certification is the good starting point. You see, certification makes sure that you have a basic knowledge at least. Yes, they will ask you further questions upon, relevant to that job role, but still, the certification will create a big impact. Okay, but again, I'm just kind of dismissing that one myth that just having a certification would not help. Okay, it will just take you through that particular first round, it may, but again, and comprehensive understanding, a comprehensive learning, more of a detailed understanding of the entire thing is what is required. Okay, we just go on to console as well. I mean, not console, more of on the browser as well. I'll show you certain jobs, how they are looking like in a minute. But let's just have this clear first. Yes, certifications, they play a very important role in today's world. Okay, earlier it was a bit different. I mean, while we were not onto cloud, but with being on cloud, certifications play vital role. Okay, and what kind of that as well play important role. Okay. So as you see, we are looking for a DevOps profile, right? I mean, we are looking into DevOps job role. Okay. So the kind of job, now this is just one of the sample. Okay. Now, if you check it for different organizations, for different companies, you will see that the job description, the profile, the qualifications will revolve something around this only. Okay, even I'll show you on Google as well, just in a minute. How does it look like over there as well? Now, like I was saying, that the job description, okay, that is being given, the job responsibilities may be preferred qualification. Okay, so if you're working or if you're going for a DevOps profile or a DevOps job role, okay, your requirements, your qualification requirements, your job responsibilities, they will be again revolving around the similar aspects. Okay, for example, you see, it is talking about having to own, I mean, the first one. Okay, so you see, it is revolving around certain common parameters, for example. Okay, and it will be kind of in the similar manner for other job profiles as well if you are dealing with DevOps. So, for example, own feature level solutioning from design through delivery. Now, remember one thing, okay, DevOps is not about the components or the process aspects from from the scratch, but more of DevOps is all about streamlining your process. Try to understand. Okay, DevOps is more about streamlining your discrete components. DevOps is all about setting up a sort of workflow around your design, isn't it? Design your development. So this is more of a professional level sort of understanding that you need. It will assume that, okay, you know the things well, you know how to set these workflows, you know how to set up these pipelines, as we call it. I'm sure you have heard of this word before. Okay, but in all, just remember that the job description, or more of you will see further the responsibilities, as we are calling, they will be making sure that you know this concept well. You know how to develop these workflows, how you develop these pipelines, how you set up these processes in an automated way. Because automation, you see, is a foundational principle of DevOps. So that is what they will be making sure in the responsibilities, or making sure in your interviews as well, that you are aware of those aspects. Okay, technologies may differ. Okay, you may be aware of this or that. Okay, you can learn it, not an issue. But ultimately, you should be having that perspective of being able to design, being able to set up the process or the workflow in a well efficient, or in the most efficient way possible. Okay, so you see, exactly that is what is being specified in this particular job description, wherein it is saying you should be able to own feature level solutioning from design through delivery. So they are asking for end-to-end setup, end-to-end delivery that you should be able to be solution around. Demonstrate master craftsmanship in relevant areas, mentor junior engineers to improve performance. Okay, more of making sure of your working as a group kind of capability. Test software to ensure it meets functional and non-functional requirements. Okay, because you see, DevOps, when we say no, it is a bridge, right? You see, we have already, I'm sure you are already aware of it, but it is a bridge, right, that you are trying to create between the dev and the ops. So that is why they are making sure that you know it very well, how you go about making sure that you test out your softwares, you test out your application code, as well make it reliable, as well make it stable for the end-to-end delivery. Okay, that is what the role of is, right? As being a DevOps engineer, you make sure of the entire process goes well. You see, next, deliver stories excellently following best practices, operate efficiently in SDLC or Agile. SDLC, I'm sure you're aware of, software development life cycle, right? Agile and help with the process, and may perform other duties or responsibilities as needed or assigned. So some general aspects are kept, okay, which every organization would aspire. More of to look into the participant or the interviewee, that they would always look for your ability to work as a group, because you see, DevOps, a team, very importantly, okay, DevOps talks about collaboration. Okay, it talks heavily upon it, collaboration and communication. Okay, this is a very important aspect of it. In fact, if you know why we in fact moved down to DevOps is because of this reason only, that there was a lack of communication between the dev and the ops, and that is where the DevOps culture was brought into action. Yes, we had Scrum, we had Agile, we had waterfall models, but none of them were proving efficient in this collaboration and communication aspect. There was a lack of communication. The barriers were already there. So that is what they are again making sure here as well, that you will be able to perform your duties, your responsibilities as a team member. Okay, not, individually is fine, but more of you have to work as a team to resolve the problems. Now, again, preferred qualifications, you see, yes, of course, they are looking for a bachelor's degree in computer science or related field, because they want to make sure that you curtail or you have the basics of the networking, the computer fundamentals and everything are with you. Second, they are looking for experience in Jenkins, GitLab, or DevOps pipeline software. Okay, so you see, I'm sure you're aware of Jenkins as well, a very popular, depending on the cloud platform, if you're going for specific, let us say Azure or GCP or AWS, they will expect their own services to be aware of. But these are some of the tools which are used very often and very more preferably in the on-premises environment. Okay, so I would really suggest you to be aware of these as well, because even though the organizations, if they are looking for the services of their appropriate platform, cloud platform, but still the clients, they may be using, or they may be working with cloud, they may be working with the on-premises environments, right? And they may be, or they could be trying to retain as much as possible from down there. So Jenkins, for example, Jenkins can be supported from within AWS as well, and so is from other platforms as well. So similar, that is the reason why such multi-cloud or such cloud agnostic tools, what are really, really preferred to be aware of. You are preferred. They are preferring the participant who is aware of these tools as well, because you can work across the clouds then if you are aware of such tools. Next, you see release and configuration automation. Okay, so configuration management, I'm sure you have heard of this word before, maybe Chef, Ansible, Puppet, or Terraform. Okay, very, very popular ones again. Chef, Puppet, I'm sure you must have heard of those already. Ansible as well, configuration management tool again. Okay, very, very popular one. And or Terraform. Okay, so Terraform, you see, infrastructure as a code service. Containerization, again, remember, okay, the world that we're living in today, this approach is, or this particular way of dealing with things is exponentially increasing. Okay, organizations are looking for containers much more than the traditional server-based architecture. So, okay, please make sure to be aware of container technology. Okay, it is not so difficult. I'm sure in your learning as well, you have already learned that. But if not, please make sure that you are aware of the containerization or containers, what are those, and some very popular platforms to deal with around which Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, so Docker, you see, is a place where we keep our containers, right? Container images. I'm sure you have heard of it. And Kubernetes is container orchestration platform. Okay, so Kubernetes, yes, every sort of cloud platform has its own version of it for Kubernetes. Okay, for example, EKS, we have it from within AWS. Similarly, for other platforms as well, we have different names. But even though we have versions of Kubernetes on cloud, you should be aware of what Kubernetes is from the very basic. It is an open source tool. Now, next. Now again, I'm just discussing why I'm discussing this particular job role. Okay, because this is more curtailing to the general requirements that the organizations are having. Okay, so that is why we are discussing this. Yes, it may differ a bit here and there depending on the job role, but still, okay, these are some of the things which are minimum required. So that is why we are discussing this. I hope you understand. Experience in Python. Now you see, in the DevOps world, we have Dev itself there. So it is required that at least, okay, please be aware, at least one high level programming language you should be aware of. At least maybe, for example, Python, Java, .NET. Okay, so experience working with that, at least get a good hands-on with any of the high level programming language that will give you a good edge with this, because you see they're expecting you to know this. Remember, they're expecting you to have at least one programming language you should be aware of. In this case, they are saying Python more of, but yeah, I mean, you can be having at least one. And languages, they are not so difficult. Frankly speaking, okay, you can as I mean, with the actual use or with the actual requirement, you can explore them. But the analytical thinking, more of the programmatic way of dealing with the things, that is what they are looking for, making sure that you are able to program more of, and you are able to understand what the program is doing. It has nothing to do more with language. Yes, there are different syntaxes, there are different ways of working with the languages, but still, okay, team, you see, nowadays, no, what we are looking at is organizations, they are not so concerned about the language that you know, they are concerned about your analytical or your programmatic thinking. Are you able to think in that way? Are you able to solve the problems given to you? Okay, so DSA, like kind of, I don't want to divert our discussion, but yeah, DSA like sort of concepts or sort of ways are paving in. Now, next, excellent analytical and problem solving and troubleshooting skills. So yes, again, programming is what? I mean, in other way, you are putting your entire brain onto solving a problem. Okay, so again, that will come in handy as well in this approach. You can make sure of that. It is always good to have some GitHub like repositories with you, GitHub like accounts with you, going on for some challenges, making it a better profile as well. Okay, yes, I mean, I know, I mean, it is not a one-day job. I totally understand. But yes, you should, I mean, these are some of the things that they will be looking for. Okay, they want you to think, they want you to have a mind with the capability of solving or more of going for the problem solving in a positive way. Okay, now when you have these skill sets now for the DevOps role, it will make it much more efficient. Again, just going further, ability to work both independently as a part of team. So I cannot emphasize this more, team. Please be aware, they want you team member there, okay? Because yes, individually, I'm sure you are all capable of, but DevOps itself talks about communication and collaboration. So that is the core value of it, the core principle, the foundational principle of it. So make sure that if they ask you a question, whether you will be able to work in team, don't tell them that, okay, I'm good only to work alone and I can only do the work alone. Nothing. I'm sure. I don't have to sort of tell you this, but I'm telling you this. Why? Because DevOps, in the perspective of DevOps, no, the core value itself has it. So you cannot sort of refrain from that anyway. Anyhow, knowledge of hardware and operating systems, yes, team, it will be required again, that you may be working with different operating systems altogether. Okay, for example, let us say you're working on clouds, you have various operating systems, and your clients will be coming up with various requirements. I've seen the projects getting in for us, okay, where the client was entirely using an entirely different operating system. We had to learn it in order to provide them the appropriate solution. Okay, so yes, you need to be aware of operating systems as well. Yes, I mean, you may not be a sort of very in detail expert of every bit of it, but still, I mean, you should be familiar with the operating systems, the very popular ones at least. Linux, how it does work, Windows, sort of, and more of just getting an idea. What I'm saying is, just have an idea of we're dealing with the operating systems. You should not be entirely blank about, okay, I've not even seen this app, I don't know anything about it, like that. I mean, it will not be a operating system level questions as such. Please be aware, okay? It will not be the questions around that, but it is expected that you are having a familiarity with that, because you see, I mean, working with these technology, working with these servers, and working with these containers and all of that, you will be dealing with the operating system. Okay, so that is the reason why they are expecting you to be aware of it. 4 to 6 years. I mean, this is particularly asking you for experience around it, but yes, it will differ from job profile to profile. How much of the experience they are looking for? It can be entirely going from no experience until a very high or very big amount of experience they might be looking for. So it will depend. It will depend from job profile to profile. Skills and competencies. This is just again, team. I'm telling you why I'm focusing on this one specifically, because this is covering most of the aspect. But I'll show you some other job descriptions as well in a minute. Okay, what they may be asking you for. Now, just to give you a context again, like I told, it is for DevOps engineer. Okay, industry type is IT, services and consulting, software and Q&A, and full-time permanent role is what we are looking at, with B and BTech sort of. So engineering degree is what, or the bachelor of technology, the bachelor of engineering in a domain of computer science, or in a domain where you have dealt with the computer skills, isn't it? So skills and competencies, you see, implement. Now you see, appropriate methodologies, processes, technology, infrastructure, and system management for one's domain. Okay, so again, like I've told you, what DevOps more of is, it is more of, it is a combination of three things. Okay, one is three things more of we talk about in DevOps. One is the philosophical culture, more of the tools, the second one, and the best practices. Okay, so combination of these three more of, when you use in order to combine the dev plus ops, this is what generally we refer to as DevOps. Okay, where there is a culture of DevOps, may be in the form of infrastructure as a code, may be in the form of automation, may be in the form of an entire mindset that is shifting from working alone to working together. Then we have tools which are part of this culture, wherein you see we use different services all together, and best practices, just like I mentioned, making sure that the security, the reliability, the stability of the entire process is taken care of. So in this regard, that is what, even if why I came to this is because if you see, this is exactly what again this profile is looking for as well. You should be in position to implement or set up the methodologies, the processes, the technology infrastructure, and system management for punch domain. You should have the ability to search and analyze the task dependencies. should be having the ability to research and analyze task dependencies, planned platforms, strategies, initiatives, key issues related to one's domain, understands the measure of quality code deployment and tools used in one's domain. The entire process that you're setting up, it assumes that you have the best quality code possible with you, because when you're going for the deployments in this DevOps domains, okay, remember one thing, okay, team, that under this DevOps, this is not a very casual role as such. I mean, no role is as casual, I'm sure, but what I'm saying is you are dealing with production environments in the DevOps roles. And when I say production environments, you see your organization's reputation, your organization's revenue, everything depends on the production environment. So you don't want to mess up with that. Never. So in that order, making sure, first of all, is that the quality code is the first step in that process. You have to make sure that the code that you are creating out of it from the development phase, it has to be of the highest quality possible. Along with that, you should be assisting in reviewing, designing, and documenting technical application designs, because you see, you are responsible for the end-to-end setup, right? Your end-to-end pipeline is what you are in charge of. So you have to make sure that you are reviewing it, you are designing, documenting everything, because ultimately you want to keep track of every change that has ever happened on that pipeline. Next, communicates with customers and users to elicit and gather requirements, assist senior colleagues in analyzing client requirements. So this is important, team, because unless and until you gather the requirements, this process does not start at all. Only and only when you gather the entire set of requirements from the client, then and then only you can design and set up a pipeline accordingly. So you should be in a position to be able to talk to the customers, to be able to talk to the clients in order to fetch the actual requirements, and accordingly you have to set up the pipeline, you have to set up the actual DevOps workflow. Participate in the preparation of detailed documentation and requirements, like I mentioned, and yes, knowledge of relevant modern software technology. Let it be Agile, Scrum, XP, because yes, Scrum, Agile, they are popular technologies as well. So they are in line with further DevOps. So exactly, that is the reason why organizations, they really tend to ask for it. Okay, I'll just show you a couple of job profiles as well. Okay, so giving a quick view of what it would look like, or what are the kind of profiles that you can come across. Okay, so for example, let us take up an example of, I mean, being on cloud, right? Let us take up an example of AWS DevOps. Okay, I'm just taking an example. Okay, the profiles will differ depending on, even a general DevOps profile would be there as well. I'm just taking a specific example. Let us say AWS DevOps job. Okay, so you see, I mean, I'm just picking up some random one. Okay, I'm not going into, we are not specifically kind of choosing anything, but I'm just picking randomly USA right now, because many of us are from US only as well. I mean, you can check it for your own domain as well. Yes, we are using various search engines now, isn't it? We are going for LinkedIn and all of that, but instead of going for that, I'm just giving you a very general view of the thing. Okay, so for example, you see, this is an AWS DevOps engineer that they are looking for. Okay, in Austin, USA. Okay, and if I just click on that, let us just explore a bit on that, what exactly they are. So team, you see, I mean, the exact same set of things they are looking for as well, like we just talked about. Okay, for example, bachelor's degree in the same domain with an awareness of the services like your Docker, Helm, Kubernetes, and all of that. Now, this is a bit pertaining to AWS DevOps, so you will have some differences around that. Okay, but you see, it is not changing much in that regard. For example, you see, we're hiring a cloud DevOps infrastructure engineer. Now, this is an infra kind of profile that they have, wherein they want you to, together with the team, they want you to support the client implementation through architecture guidance, best practices, data migration, capacity planning, implementation, troubleshooting, monitoring. Isn't it? And you can see the various pays as well you get around it. Okay, so similarly, if you go for any profile, you see, again, it is asking you for some sort of experience with the CI/CD, may it be having an experience with at least one high-level programming language. Okay, responsibilities expects you to have SDLC knowledge. And you can see, again, if I extend that a bit further, you'll see the similar things that we just saw earlier. So they are just looking to make sure that you are capable of solving the given problems. Again, similar sort of requirements they get it. Okay, AWS is your cloud of is a chef puppet. I mean, this is exactly what we saw, right? This is exactly what we saw. Python and Ruby scripting. Okay, these are scripting languages, as you know. Okay, chef, puppet, CI/CD pipeline with similar tooling. Okay, and see the level of, I mean, these are some of the general things around that. But ultimately, they are looking for the similar technologies and services that we just now discussed. Okay, so yeah, that is what I was saying, that they're looking for the similar technologies between this particular things. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much for staying with us till the end of this video. I have something special to share. If you loved our content today, then you are absolutely going to adore what's coming next. We have a free class that's absolutely free, and the best part is it's available for everyone. This class goes in depth into the topics we touched on today, offering you detailed insights, comprehensive explanations, and even some exclusive content that wasn't covered in this video. All you have to do is just click on the link in the description below and you will be redirected to a page like this. Or if you are just starting from fresh, just type k21academy.com/devops02. Now all the information inside the class is listed here. You can check out the details of what we're going to cover in the session. Then while learn DevOps, we have few certified trainees. Then we have a note from our very own Atul Kumar. Now for registering for the class, all you have to do is just select an event date, enter your name, your email, your phone number, and click yes, save my seat. You will be redirected to a thank you page, and you can add this session to your Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar. You can also save this link and you can join the webinar by clicking the link here. I promise this is something you don't want to miss, so go ahead, click on that link and step into a world where learning knows no boundaries. Till then, keep enjoying. I'll see you in the next video.